copyright infringement on our hands before the show's over. We got our signals crossed on I don't know, on someone's DJing something.
I thought EO was just spitting hot fire.
It's kind of amazing. I'm pretty impressed.
When he said CEO, I was like, oh, well written, EO. It's just perfect, actually.
Welcome to Tuesday night, everybody. We appreciate having you with us on another grand, off-season Tuesday, the last one we're going to get. Thank God it's Tuesday. I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
My favorite finales around this basement are the off-season finales. It's on now. Tonight will be the last night we are not talking about our team playing the greatest game ever. And that gets me a little jacked up. It's game week. It's real. It exists. It's tangible. Within 48 hours, the league kicks off. We got, what was that, 4 days, 16 hours, and some change. This is awesome, man. It's time. Oh, it's time to play a ball game without old shitty butt. What do we call him?
Private Turd Swaggler? I don't know. Captain Turd? I think he's Turd Swaggling at a captain's level. We're not going to make him Admiral quite yet, but...
Admiral Dick. Can we call him that?
Admiral Dick, for sure. Yeah, I don't know, Greg. If anyone... First of all, I have no idea how that song even made it onto our broadcast, but we appreciate everyone for hanging in there with us. If you see something or hear something you like, give us a thumbs up and please subscribe for free. It's at the bottom. I want to raise my glass up to all the people who have been hanging with us all these years. I mean, we in this basement have been together for a number of years now, but so many more Redskins fans have made it through what is arguably just one of the more terrible periods for an individual fan base. We're on the backside of it. In fact, we're done it, and we're through an amazing offseason. Probably when we did offseason on the Brink 4 years ago, couldn't even have dreamed for something as amazing as all the things that fell into place for us this offseason.
Well, if we've all found joy somehow, some way in the last 23 years, can you imagine the joy we're going to experience with the new guy at the helm and some wins under our belt and a whole new feeling? And, we'll see, but it's going to be a lot of damn fun, so cheers.
And technically is still the off-season, Greg. Until the regular season starts, you're in the off-season. I understand people want to talk preseason, but at the end of the day, there's off and there's on. There's only two modes, and the last 4 days of this one will be filled with anticipation of a game. I feel like college week 0 and all that ridiculousness, all the matchups, Colorado winning and Duke winning in particular, those two games I think should be at least somewhat instructive as we go into this weekend. Now, is there any excuse for our team to lose to that team? Of course not. And there's like so few ways it could possibly happen, but it could possibly happen.
There's plenty of ways.
There's
plenty of ways for it to happen.
We've got to keep our eyes on the prize. Winning in the National Football League comes at a premium, even against a team that nobody thinks will win a single game. So the Arizona Cardinals are on deck. That's who we'll focus on tonight. We'll talk about our last win-loss total prediction. Kevin, and I will lead off with that. We have some other season predictions that we will get in the books, and they will be referred to on a regular basis in order to prove that someone possibly wearing an orange shirt was right, and someone possibly wearing I'm a kind of a big deal t-shirt may have been wrong on a couple of occasions, but not the guy wearing the Redskins shirt. He's always right.
Hail. Oh, I'm never usually right, but I'm not afraid to be wrong.
It's the year 1 AD. Greatest year of our fan lives in terms of football in the last 20. Regular season, it's on its way. Let's go ahead and look at that schedule. Let's talk about it. We got T on the board. We got NES Tecmo in the house. Greg, EO, manner of speaking. Did I see an AGH sighting? I may have. We welcome all of you to the show. Let's get that countdown off, and let's throw the schedule on.
Do we have some music on? T's saying there's some music in here.
I think he was talking about the music that was there before.
I thought so, too.
Yeah, if you can hear music, it's not us. I'm not playing any music. I don't even know that I was playing the last one. Let's see what happens if I do this. Mo in the house, Greg. Oh, I see. That was I see an AGH sighting? I may have. Saw an AGH sighting. Yep. Okay, good. That was our checker outer. That was the job formerly performed by Prince. Here's the schedule. we've done this before, but here's your final answer. We're gonna go week 1 through week 18, and we're gonna do wins and losses. We'll come up with a win-loss record, and it will be your final answer. Do we have anyone? Do I hear anyone who says we're gonna lose week 1? Anyone?
No.
That's 3 W's. T, we don't move on to the next game, T, until you throw it down. I can see the delay. So we're about 15, 20 seconds. That gives us a chance to jabber away a little bit. There's no chance we lose this game. No chance we're picking us to lose this game. Well, how about we'll start with that?
Well, you can't just pick us with all this momentum to lose to the Cardinals. It's not a popular pick, but that's a 7-point spread in this league. Tells us a little bit about it. Ain't going to be a freaking blowout, dude. It's just not how it works in this league.
Okay, so don't.
T said W. T said W. We can move forward.
We're not asking anyone to make any wagers out there, but if you are, you should absolutely bet on a blowout. It's a blowout all day. Let's go back. Week 2. We are on the road in Denver. Kevin, lead us off.
F. Sean Payton. Win.
I also have that as a win. I think we're 2-0. T gets the last call. I don't know. Denver's not going to be an easy out, but I don't think we are either.
We have no easy outs, but we're going to be a different out than people have dealt with in the past, and our physicality and our defense makes us a tough out every week. So as our offense gets better.
All right, so it's 2-0 all the way around. We get to week 3. We're back home. Buffalo Bills. I'll let T lead us off while we just vamp for a second or two. I think Buffalo is every bit as good as we think that they are, but I will say this about Buffalo. I don't think they are going to take a step, another step forward. I think they're good right now, and what they are right now is what they are. Like I don't think they got better necessarily. They lost a big middle linebacker that we actually kind of wanted on our side, but I don't know. I just don't see them as being that much better than what they already are, which is really good.
I've already said F Buffalo, so I'm sticking with it. I'm going with my entire F series for this schedule, and it's here's why. I agree with you. Why are they so big and badass that they have to come down here and it has to be a loss? I don't think that has to be the case. So that's going to be a slugfest between two physical. Listen, their offense is the name of their game. It's our defense. It's our home field, and our home field has a bit of a different feeling these days. So F Buffalo.
T has it as an L, and here's the reason why I say it's a W is because I feel like, again, we haven't seen them play a game yet this season, but assuming we know who Buffalo is, I don't think you're going to out-physical us, our defense. I think our offense is going to get some matchups on some defenses this year that are going to maybe not look great, but no one's out-physicaling our defense, and I think Buffalo does a really good job of out-physicaling teams, and there's a few teams you just can't do that to, and I think that's ours. So I'm giving us a W. I got us at 3-0 after 3 weeks, and then we come come back to the NFC East for the first game. It's an away game, October 1st in Philly. I guess I'll tell you what. I'm going to rain on this parade, and I'm going to give us an L there. I'm going to make us 3-1. I hate to say that.
I don't. Yeah. This is the NFC East. This is the best team in the NFC and arguably the best team in the NFL last year. And if you ask them, they were just a different field surface away in the Super Bowl from letting everyone know. They're badass. They're a great football team. It's going to be a slugfest because I think we're pretty tough. But you don't just sit here and say we're going 4-0 at this point on the road in Philly. That's where we're going to take our first loss, in my humble opinion.
So T's got a loss too. So just so that we are all on the same page, I'm at 3-1. Kevin's at 3-1. T is at 2-2. Mr. Negative. But let's get back to it. The first quarter grades are in. Kevin and Ken are giving them pretty damn good grades. T is undecided.
C plus. T gave a C plus. Which is, in my house, that was cause for celebrations.
Hey, someone...
You see that plus there?
Someone might have overstudied.
There's a plus on the end of that bad boy.
You probably could have given it about 10% less effort.
Plus what?
Still got that C.
Plus what?
All right, coming back home. A game yours truly will be at. If anyone's going to be at the Thursday night game against the Chicago Bears at FedEx in Week 5 on October 5th, please let me know. Rhett and I and a bunch of other fools will be in the parking lot rather early that day, and we're ready. Going to be ready for that one. I want to make one comment about the teams I go through, just because Chicago is. I think Justin Fields. In the same point I made about Buffalo, I think there's a ceiling for Justin Fields. It's way up there. He's super productive. He can beat you on the ground. He can throw it, but the numbers last year do not suggest that Justin Fields will beat you throwing the ball. He can beat you all the other ways, and he can do it handily. But again, this kind of quarterback, I don't think that kind of guy runs all over our front seven. Front six. He
is going to be so much better than he was last year. I think he's going to have a great year. That does not change my opinion of what we're going to do that night, because I think we handle the Bears. And on Thursday nights, I feel like we find a way. Somehow, in the worst football game of the season last year, we beat the Bears. So that's just history saying that. I think he is going to have a hell of a year. That I think Justin Fields becomes a dude this year. Just not that Thursday, and not against this defense in particular.
Yeah, he's doing it in a way. I think that's also the problem with the metrics that I mentioned and that you look at. I mean, that show that he doesn't beat you in the way like Joe Burrow can.
Well,
but
they threw the ball 100 times less than any other starter at his position, and that's for a reason.
The way he can beat you is convincing enough because he's an animal on the field.
They used 30% of the playbook last year. Yeah. I'm telling you, when you get to about 75, 80 this year, you're going to see some of that stuff that he has a chance to do a little bit better. I just don't think that shit works all that well against a badass defense, which I believe we possess.
We agree. And T has us in with a win. He's 3-2. We're 4-1. We are going away. We're going down to the home of Desmond Ridder and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, all offensive player names. I don't know much about the Falcons defense. I'm not going to pretend to, but I don't anticipate that this game is going to be the kind of marquee matchup the NFL is looking for in Week 6. But maybe one-sided. I think we got this game.
Yeah, it's never easy to go on the road in this league, and it's going to be a dogfight, but once again, I think momentum early in the season is big for us, and our schedule gets a little more difficult later. And the way things are rolling right now, I'm not embarrassed to say I think we're going to be 5-1 after 6 weeks. And in Atlanta, who's got quarterback issues against our defense, that's not great. You can't just line up and match the ball against these guys when we're physically healthy. So I don't sweat that game in Atlanta. I'm not going to sit here and say I think we're going to lose it. So hopefully Desmond Ridder's still at the helm. That would be helpful, I think.
It was interesting. I was at the Atlanta game last year with Pat and Mike with the Ward brothers and watching Cordero Patterson, who's probably one of the biggest human beings I've ever been.
Yeah, he's built like a freaking Mack truck for a dude that touches the balls off on his
I can't imagine being tasked with stopping him every play, but that's what those guys do. And the game was in absolute doubt. I mean, we won the game. It was in bad weather, but it could be something like that. It could be something like where it's just a sloppy game between two teams who are trying to figure out who they are. I got us in that game. We stay on the road in Week 7, and we're back in the NFC East playing the New York Giants. Let's see. I don't see a note from T on the Giants yet. What do you think, Kev?
We suck when we go up there. We suck against the Giants. We always lose games I think we're supposed to win. I don't think that stops just yet. On the road in New York, we take a loss that week.
All right, so we're 5-2. So I have it as a win, and I'm starting to get a little concerned because at 6-1, I don't want. My concern becomes back end of the schedule is super difficult, and you don't play in December and January like you do in September. You play in December, January like you play in December. So I don't want. But in 6, I don't think we're going 15-1, 16-1. I don't think that's happening. T's also got a loss there, and so he's at 4-3, and 4-3 just feels so much better than 6-1 as far as prediction. In fact, 6-1 feels kind of foolish.
How does 5-2 feel?
5-2, 5-2, and 4-3 strike me as reasonable beginnings to a season. We come back home for Philadelphia. All right, you know what? I'm going to exercise this one right in privilege. I think we're going to win one of these two games, either on the road or at home, and I'd rather see us win that home game on October 29th. So I'm going to go loss to the Giants, win against the Eagles. Sorry about that. That's poor form. And then that makes us 5-2 in the previous week. What do you got for us for the Eagles at home?
I think I thought we would split with Philly from the jump, and I think we go home and home with the wins. And I think, once again, it's going to be freaking great. And that'll be the day that we prove what's going on with the stadium and what's happening, because it's gonna be a different atmosphere than we've had at home games versus the Eagles in recent history. I think we take care of them because I think we're going to split with them this year, and that's just how it goes. I got us at 6-2 midway through. Well, almost midway through our 17-game schedule.
6-2. I have it 6-2. T has a loss to the Eagles. We're at 4-4. Now we're scuffling. T's got us scuffling. And I like, that's typically been the way we've made the playoffs in the past, is we scuffle down the stretch. On the road against the New England Patriots in Week 9, I just don't believe a ton in what New England's up to. I don't think it's special. I think they have a couple good players.
Yeah, they've got Kraft Food Services.
Mm-hmm.
I get to say F. Belichick. We go up there, and I think we show that's an important game to beat that franchise for our youngsters, I think. Just to show them that, we know how to put a team together as well, and we've drafted, and this is a big, huge year for us to take care of our business. I like us going up there and getting that W. I don't see why we wouldn't. I'm not a big old fan in who they've got playing at quarterback. I don't think he needs to beat our defense. Of course, Bill Belichick has the capabilities to beat anyone's freaking defense and anyone's team at any time. But you know what? F them. F them. Give us the W. How about that?
Week 9. W. All right, so 7-2, 7-2, 5-4. And obviously at 7-2, where people are starting to talk about us as a playoff favorite potentially.
Oh, the reclamation project, the owner, we're all on top of the world. The media is going to turn after a quarter century of just taking a big fat poo on us. All of a sudden, we're going to be the media darlings if we get to that point.
That's what I'm buying into. I don't think our front of our schedule is exceptionally difficult, especially compared to the back end. So if we get hot and win a bunch of these games, and I think that writes itself, like what you just said.
Yeah,
like we're just ripe to be a positive story this year, and that's never been the case for us. I mean, when was the last time we were like, we're on the verge of being like a feel-good, like Disney type story? Now that's only 9 weeks in. Things get a little bit serious, actually pretty quickly, because after the New England Patriots, we travel from New England to the farthest reaches of the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks. It usually bodes poorly. I think the numbers on that kind of a road trip, especially if we fly home Sunday night to Washington and then fly to Seattle. I don't know how they're going to do that. They'll probably work on something, but that doesn't usually go well for the team that makes that trip.
Just be careful at Kraft Food Services. Let's not let the schedule change. By the way, the one in Jacksonville is way more dangerous than the one up in Massachusetts for the owner, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is a weather game. I think it's going to be nasty and crazy and loud, and I'm taking a loss to the Seahawks on the road.
It's difficult to go into New England, catch that W on the road, fly back, and fly across the country against a veteran team with a stud quarterback coming off his biggest year. I think that just says L on the schedule, and that's based on the schedule-making gods and just how it works. I think if we had them on a different time, maybe at a different place, it could be different. But I think the way it looks to me, that's a fat loss on the road, and it's understandable. Flying across the country.
Consensus. We have a consensus loss in week 10. Week 11, We come home now. I did make that change in week 7 to a loss on the road. I don't think we get swept by the New York Giants.
So you got a loss to the Giants at home.
A loss to the Giants in week 7 and a win against the Giants when they come to us in week 11.
So I also had us losing, and I also have us winning that game at home. Ron Rivera's had enough of losing to the Giants, I believe, at that point at 7-3. That's a huge difference. That 8-3 is a really big deal moving into the latter part of our schedule. And I got us taking care of business there as well, moving up to,
So that's a consensus W. So far on the season, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 consensus weeks. 8 of 11. Not bad. But it's a big deal because T has us now at 6-5 with a win against the Giants. And then we leave the comfy confines of FedEx Field, and we're on the road on Thanksgiving, only game on TV, eating your turkey. I mean, all I can think of is RG3 and Santana Moss, and I think history favors us. I think we're due. I think this is the kind of thing that you talk about when you say we're due for something positive. This is a huge game, and I think we're a good team that is capable of winning this game. We get the Thanksgiving magic win.
Thanksgiving magic win. I'm in. Thanksgiving 11 years ago. RG3.
Yeah.
Beautiful Thanksgiving. Just amazing. Although my mom made me watch outside from outside the sliding glass door.
What were you doing?
My dad was rooting for Des Bryant for fantasy purposes, and I called him a communist on Thanksgiving. It was fair, I thought, all the way around, except for the fantasy part. I mean, it's such ridiculousness. That's when my true hatred of fantasy football started, that you could possibly think that it would be okay for Des Bryant to flourish in the second half while they were making a comeback, while I'm sitting there gnawing on a turkey leg soaked in delicious vodka. So it just didn't seem right to me. It didn't seem right. But it seems right? Beating Dallas on Thanksgiving.
Yes. T hasn't rang in yet on the Thanksgiving day. I mean, thankfully, it's the second game. And I think it was the last time too. I think Dallas I think they put the 1:00 game, and it's going to be somewhere on the East Coast. But I don't want to play in the first game on Thanksgiving. I don't know how Packers and Lions fans do it. Mostly, I mean, Lions fans for that matter. I mean, it's a tone setter for one of the greatest days / holiday weekends, on the calendar. And if you just wake up early on Thanksgiving, you're cleaning the house, you're stuffing the turkey, the game goes on. People it hasn't even started yet. The Thanksgivingness of it all. And then
wait, stuffing the turkey. You haven't hosted in years, sir.
That's not true. I'm a hoster.
You're a turkey stuffer, but
I am a turkey
I'm
stuffer.
not sure. I've got to do my research on the hosting.
It was consensual.
All right.
It was. All right. So T's got us winning in Thanksgiving.
Gobble.
Right, so
Gobble if you're in danger.
Gobble twice if you've been stuffed properly. Let's see here.
You're stuffed against your will.
Home against the Miami Dolphins. I have Miami Dolphins as a possible Super Bowl team. I think they're nasty. At some point in time, I'm going to have to predict a loss. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to say it's going to be a long day at the office against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua.
I have us losing that game as well. It's more of a schedule thing. I think after their big Thanksgiving win, a little time off, and everyone gets to read up on why we're 9-3, and a team like Miami comes in here, gets us straightened out a little bit before the postseason run takes place. Kind of shows us a little bit about what we got to do to figure it out. And teams like that come up here and have given us trouble in the past, but they could be freaking nasty.
I mean, people don't talk about it. I mean, I think it's easier to talk about San Francisco's roster, and we have.
Well,
and it just jumps right off at you, and you're like, and any time you see them like in the TV listings, you mentally envision all those names suited up and beating up the other team. I don't think people think that way about the Miami Dolphins, and I think they probably should. I think they're as loaded with talent as any team on the line, in the backfield, and linebacker, in the defensive backfield. They have 2 wide receivers you could argue are the 2 best wide receivers, and Tua, if he's healthy, he's capable of dropping 400 plus on you.
It's true. If he rolls over in the middle of the night too quickly, he could be concussed as well.
Concussed. That's
and there's
correct.
so many things that he needs to be around for them to be this level, obviously. But like he's like one Rhett fart away from a concussion. So that's the thing that I love getting them that late in the season. We'll see what Rhett has to offer at the stadium that day, but you can't just base your entire prediction on your neighbor's gastrointestinal issues. So
No.
I won't do that, but they will beat us that day.
It does make a lot of sense.
Is my prediction that I, like I said, not afraid to be wrong.
And yet again, we'd make the long trip across the country to play the Los Angeles Chargers, who this is going to be a test for our defense because their offense is special for a variety of reasons, and our defense. That's the matchup we want. We don't want to run into a juggernaut defense, which I think there is going to be one coming up here in a couple of weeks, or maybe for the next 2 weeks. But the Chargers on the road, I don't know. You go first, because this last stretch has got me flummoxed.
I think that the big Dallas win, and this is a bye week. Whatever. We're never great out of the bye week. It's always a struggle. This dude's a stud quarterback, and it's hard to fly across the damn country and get that W. I have another loss. I have a back-to-back loss scenario. It's gonna be a tough 1, 2, 3 weeks or so, I think, Dan. But that's what you want it to be before the last month of the season. You don't want to be gliding into December. You want to figure it out. So I got us at 9-5 after the bye week.
All right, so I do have us winning this game. I do have us getting to 10 wins. I think it's going to be, I feel like on the road.
It's the Rams, by the way.
Sorry, I said Chargers. I did say Chargers.
It's LA.
Yeah. My bad.
I write LA down. I had LAR, but it looked like a C as well.
I'm immediately envisioning Justin Herbert every time I see that.
I'm envisioning a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and that's what Justin Herbert wants to be. And they've got one sitting right there, and that's tough. That's tough with a guy like McVay, and we know that.
Ultimately, they are beatable, and I have us getting to a certain number of wins, and I had to find it somewhere in December because crossing back again all the way across the country, which we do quite a few times this season. We are going to play Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets, Week 16. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know how flexing is going to work. I don't know what the whole situation is. Like, I think every game is flexible after like tomorrow. I don't know what the deal is, but I gotta believe if we are in fact 10-4, even 9-5, playing the Jets on Christmas Eve, it's gonna have to be at least in consideration for a flexing. I know one of you guys on the board knows how the flexing works. Let us know. But I have a loss on Christmas Eve, which I hate. I hated losing against the 49ers last Christmas Eve.
A Christmas Eve loss. Do you think the girl Aaron Rodgers will be dating at that point celebrates Christmas or some type of scenario of caves and
they celebrate
chanting
like
Gregorian monks? Is there
becoming alive, like just
whatever
illumination.
Whatever it is, due to his poor choices over the years and downgrading his dating partner, it's basically entirely based on that. So I can say, F that witch lady that just put him in a cave for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I just didn't agree with it. We're winning that game.
10-5.
10-5.
We're back to even. Did T pick a? T, is that a loss to? So T's got us losing to the Rams and losing to the Jets, if I'm not mistaken.
And Greg's got us not getting flexed. So this is the negative portion of the season, apparently. But you have to go through the darkness to understand the light, sir.
If we're not getting flexed, that actually works for folks who have, for example, Christmas Eve Mass at 4:30. kind of a big deal. I like it. I'm a big fan because it was a conflict last year. T, let me know before we move on what you got. I think your loss. Fourth straight loss. Yep. Oh, wait. Fourth straight loss? T said? That can't be.
Listen.
Well, he's definitely got us losing to the Rams to make a 7-8. But did you have us winning in week 12? I think you did. So he's probably saying we're losing to the 49ers for our fourth straight loss.
And NES Tagmo is saying not too bright leaving Munn, and I couldn't agree more. Like, what are you doing out there, sir? What are you doing? You don't just leave Ruth Chris and eat double cheeseburgers every other Friday and pretend you're still Ruth. You just don't.
I mean, and he was buying on the low, and I mean, because Olivia Munn, she's only gotten greater in all respects because she's been in cooler stuff. She's done. You're like, wait a second, she's pretty freaking cool. Like, what was Aaron Rodgers thinking? And hot.
She makes ugly faces that are 10 times more gorgeous than anyone else he's dated since. That's all.
That's definitely a fact. T, confirm for me, if you would, that you have us losing 4 in a row. Dolphins, Rams, Jets, 49ers, because I think that's what you're saying. I have us losing.
It's the most wonderful.
This is tough, man, because we spent all this happiness in September and October and into November, and then they throw the Jets and the 49ers against us, right in the heart of Christmas and New Year's. I mean, listen, I got us losing both of those games. What about you? Have us winning against the Jets, but what about San Francisco?
I have us taking a big fat L against San Fran. They are damn good, and they will be humming that time of year, and that will be a weekend where I believe they'll be able to close out some type of madness that the last week won't matter. And if they're healthy, they're nasty, and that's a team we may see again in the playoffs, though. Man, I wouldn't be shocked, but I think we drop that at home.
All right, so that means we stay at home. I think not having to travel at this point is helping us because we've traveled our butts off. We stay at home and we finish the season TBD against the Dallas Cowboys. I know that there's like only a couple of teams that actually can be flexed in the situation. Greg knows the answer. I don't know what. I love that it's TBD. By the way, that's a home game. So I remember the old days when I have season tickets and you get your tickets. I mean, every game is known even before they had flexing. And then when they started having flexing, you kind of were like, well, I kind of need to know. I paid a lot of money for this ticket. Certainly would like to know what day it's on and when. And now they're not even telling you that. Now they're just saying like straight up TBD. Carve out some time. You don't know where you're going to be. Dallas at home, week 18.
Do you know where I'm headed with it? We're going to 11-6. I said 11 wins at the beginning of this, and Trey Lance is not going to be able to pull it out against us that day because there's no way Dak's around in week 18. And that's going to be tough sledding for old Trey against our D-line, who will be healthy that week. I can already feel it. 11-6 with a 2 out of 3 wins heading into the playoffs is a big deal, and you're not mad about what happens at San Fran. They're going to pull it out late on us.
Yeah.
But we're going to learn some serious business. 11-6 with a Dallas W is a gigantic badass season.
I love it. I have him as winning as well. I'm assuming T has us beating the Dallas Cowboys because he said we were 4th straight losses. But interestingly, you and I have 11 wins. T, with a win over the Cowboys, would get us to 8-9. That is him overreacting to his zealousness last year when he had us at like 27 wins. Now I think he's overcorrecting. You're overcorrecting, T. I think you can, but I think 8-9, 8-9. I'm surprised. I don't think 8-9 gets us into the playoffs. I think 9-8. I think 9-8 is a better than 50% chance the way it works out. But I also think that like the NFC, what is it? The NFC South is like dog shit.
Yeah.
So you figure that could be 3 teams that have no realistic chance of making the playoffs. One of them has to make it, so one of them will. I don't think the Rams and Seahawks make the playoffs this year, and I think maybe you're competing with the second place team in the what is that? The Central, the NFC North. So Minnesota, I think Minnesota takes it running away, and Green Bay and Chicago are fighting for something with the second or third NFC East team. That's what I think. But,
yeah, I mean, San Fran, Philly, and Minnesota. I don't think anyone's arguing with any of that logic. There's just some damn good football teams.
Yep.
Right now, but a lot's going to change. Injuries, leaves, temperatures in different areas, injuries. We'll be all right.
Interestingly, T says that our playoff hopes hinge on the Dolphins game, which if we win that game, he would have us at 9-8. And the only problem with that being a hinger is that it's an AFC game, so it doesn't help us on the NFC rankings for playoff qualification. If we can, I think the Rams. I mean, of course, at 11-6, I don't think we're worried about making the playoffs. But if we just go back real fast, one last time, the Rams, obviously the Falcons, and the Seahawks and Bears. Those 4 games. Let's just put the Cardinals aside for just a second. The Cardinals in Week 1, for all the reasons that we know, is such an amazing opponent for us out of the gate. But the most important thing that I've never said until right at this second when we talk about it, it's an NFC win right out of the gate. That's huge. I mean, if a lot of people are going to get that NFC win this year, potentially 13 other teams.
But then you can't lose any ground to them.
You can't lose any ground to them. So
a loss in that game is super devastating for
you cannot afford to get that NFC win. Anyone who slips up against Josh Dobbs this year, shame on you. Hopefully all their wins come against or all their losses come against AFC teams. I don't know. All right, how about this?
How about it?
How about this, guys? Pro Bowl predictions. So who from our team? Now I think we can agree on the rules. What the rules should be. Do they have to show up at the game with the Redskins helmet on and the blue NFC jersey?
Just an invite would be fine.
Just an invite. Okay, just to be.
And I don't care if it's one of them, like everyone just got picked for the Super Bowl and you get like the second ass, the half-ass invite.
I just want to make sure we because that'll be a
like
little
every
bit
wedding I've ever gone to, after the first 30 people decline, you get scooped up on the waiver wire and you dance your sweet ass off and hope that someone notices you and you get invited to the next one. And then you forget to get a gift, and then it torments you, and your anxiety runs wild. And you can't remember if you were first or second team, and you tell yourself, I wasn't even first cut. You can tell yourself a lot at that point.
All right, so let's put up ones that we think are shoe-in Pro Bowl invites. Jonathan Allen's probably like the shoe-in invite, right?
I would say Allen and Payne.
Let's say
I'll have both of them on that list because, some people have Payne ranked over Allen. I don't think people know how to do it in the national media. They just do it opposite that the guy they read yesterday did it. But for no specific reason, I think both of them are badasses. And those are my only 2 guys I think would be shoe-in type guys at this particular moment.
If he didn't have a toe injury and was going to miss a week or whatever, I'd say shoe-in, no pun intended, for Terry. But because I think he's going to have a badass season. I'm just worried about just.
I do too, and I think it's in this offense. That's somebody that he's right off a shoe-in, and it's for many reasons. We're going to spread the ball around.
It's so much harder to be an invitee for a wide receiver. Every team's got 2.
I was going to say he's a top 10 guy in a lot of our opinions, but some of these guys have been up there a long time, man. Like there's some dudes out there. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's going to have some. They're not going to compete with each other, but I'm just saying that's the type of league we're in now, and he's not getting those targets. He produces at a high rate at the targets he gets, and I love that, but that might not be enough for a shoe-in Pro Bowl scenario.
If our defense is as good as we think it is, and as they've proven already how good they can be, then there's got to be more than 2 people from it selected to the Pro Bowl.
I got 2 more on the next level. What do you got?
At defense, I have Montez Sweat.
Me too.
And he
looks different.
Yeah, and I Cam Curl.
Me too. Of course.
Okay.
I don't think that's The Terry Montez, Alan Payne, and Curl. Those are my 5, and then I have one guy. I have
on offense
that I have to mention.
On offense,
yes.
Can I guess? Okay,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's a lineman. I don't think
It's not.
You're not going to throw Leno at me.
It's not.
I don't think it's a tight end.
It's not.
But I think the phone rings at the Jahan Dotson household for this game. In one, I don't think he's first cut in. I think he's getting picked because people can't make it. That'll be my wild card.
If we get out to that 5-2, 6-1, 7-2 scenario,
you're saying B-Rob?
No, I'm saying the world falls in love with the Bieniemy, Sam Howell. Spread the ball around, chuck it and duck it, run
That's
it.
wildest
be
dreams
a
for
tough
me.
Badass. Be that dude. Now, I'm not saying he's going.
That costs
to.
us so much money if he makes the Pro Bowl this year. At some point, but that's
Eventually.
okay. That's okay.
It's
I'll gladly
already
pay it.
gonna, and that's fine. But
And it's totally different now, right? It's like flag.
I'm talking about
touch.
it could be one of those invites when the quarterback says,
Of
I'm going
course,
in, but
he might be like the 6th or 7th
what I'm
guy.
saying.
They all. That's the only problem. Like if
It's easier at that spot, and if he does what he does, and he gets anointed, the savior, which God, it happens every year way too soon. But I don't mind when people are saying that about our quarterback because they haven't said that about our quarterback in maybe ever.
In a way that felt legit. Like they were saying that about RG3 briefly, but all of us watching were like, yeah, there's no way he survives this.
Right.
The thing about there's got to be like some agents out there who have been agents for more than like 8 or 10 years, and players who still have a contract somehow, some way that just came up due over the last couple of years, where you get the incentive money if you make it to the Pro Bowl, because teams are like, God damn it, how do we this contract is a loser. All you have to do is show up to the Pro Bowl and we have to pay you $100,000. Meanwhile, it's like the age of getting invited to the Pro Bowl. Like the eighth guy down the list from every position gets invited.
And the winning team gets the bonus, and both teams get a stipend anyway.
So
the Pro Bowl is just a cash cow of flag football.
But the owners won't do it anymore. They're like, screw you. We're not going to give you a bonus for making the Pro Bowl. Everyone makes the Pro Bowl now. But Sam Howell making the Pro Bowl would be special. Because
you heard my reasoning.
Yes.
I didn't say he's going to come out here and throw for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. I didn't. I said he's going to get that second tier, that wedding invitation I'm so used to getting. That no one else is going to sit in that chair.
Yeah.
You might as well let that fat-headed turd do it.
Tress Way, T's saying Tress Way is making it to the Pro Bowl. The only problem with that is I'm like, he's the best punter in the league, and there's like 3 or 4 guys that are all right there, and whatever punter they invite, assuming it's not the Super Bowl punter, like he's showing up. Obviously, there's no way he's giving up a trip to the Pro Bowl. And I think it's a tragedy that it's not in Hawaii anymore. The fact that it should just be whatever. It's such a pointless, meaningless whatever. Just let it be in Hawaii. But he deserves it. That's for sure. It ain't going to be Cheeseman or whatever our snapper.
I certainly hope not. I just want to say this: he's not one of my favorite guys in the team.
He has a long way to earn his
and anyone
Skittles.
named Cheese Man automatically should be on my side. In my brain,
it's a natural.
I love cheese as much as a freaking 250-pound rat. Any cheese, all cheeses. And to be fair, he kind of annoys the piss out of me.
How about this? I won't start off every question with that. It's like, remember when Juice would be in the basement and he'd be like, let me ask you guys a question. But he actually wasn't asking you a question.
No, 7 minutes later, I was
you were like, wait, what?
I love me some Juice.
The backup we will depend on the most this season. There's a lot of reasons for a couple of different picks here, but the backup on our team right now that we will depend on the absolute most. I want to give the board a chance to catch up to us. Because we have a little bit of a delay because we had, ever since the incident with Rhett, we had to put in a special delay in our production equipment for the hazmat.
Still submitting receipts
suits.
from previous 40 hours.
Oh yeah, dude, we just had that. There's a whole it's off camera. There's a whole situation with like gas mask, and we have to. If we can't be in those in 30 seconds from the time the bell rings, we can't have a show.
Good thing you had the plugger in the closet from way back in the day, because that seemed to work pretty good.
It unplugged. Cole Turner is not making it to the Pro Bowl, Rhett. Although if he does, and you'll be the smartest person in the basement, which is the easiest thing in the world to do. All right, so the backup that we're going to need the most, Cole Turner's in from Rhett. Manner of speaking's got Jacoby Brissett. I don't think I'm not going in that direction position wise. You got one? Do you want to go?
It's 100% to me, Jacoby Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett, okay.
The idea that we have him, which allows us to throw Sam Howell out there and let him play the game the way he plays the game. He's not holding back. No one's telling him. No, he's out there to prove himself and to earn this spot and to be this dude and to get this crowd, this sidelines invigorated at a time when we need him. And when Heineke would dive and touch a pylon, that's one thing. This dude's going to run guys over.
Yep.
When it matters. He's going to make physical plays at the quarterback position, and we're going to allow him to do that because we have a trusty, big, badass veteran who can withstand the rigors of an NFL season. I think that allows Sam Howell to be Sam Howell and allows EB to call plays and not worry about who the backup quarterback is because we depend on him to come in and get the job done, or else we wouldn't have given him 8.5.
He's a pro's pro, and you can't live 17 weeks of NFL football without two quarterbacks. T's got whoever's backing up Chase, but can we get a name there? I'm interested. There's a couple of different guys who are coming off the bench, right away. I think Obata is unavailable. He's on
IR. Yep.
So it's really like Tuhill and Smith Williams, I guess, would be the first two guys up.
They are. They're the next two guys up, I believe. And then what? And then the rookies, Jones and Henry.
Yeah, I've been singing Smith Williams praises all day. I'm gonna give you some JSW love. I would love it if he. I mean, I don't want us to need that. Obviously, we're all rooting for Chase to be healthy and dominant. So I went a different route. But not a different route. I just went. No pun intended. I did a different position. I went wide receiver position, assuming that Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel are starters out of the gate. I'm going to rankle Rhett, and I'm going to say De'Ami Brown. I think is that fair? Is he classified as a backup? I mean, he's not. He's yeah. I mean, he's going to play.
No, I don't think people are like, oh, that's De'Ami Brown, starting receiver for the Redskins.
Right. I think there'll be a time. Well, I guess I hope not. I think it's possible there could be a time this year where he's going to be leaned on. I hope not. But I think the passing game, I think the relationship between him and Sam gets him there. So if there's an injury to somebody like Terry or Curtis Samuel, specifically Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown's next man up, and I think that the chemistry between him and Sam make it a positive experience for us. And so I'm going to put De'Ami down. We'll see.
And speaking of positive experience for us, I noticed neither of us mentioned the offensive line, which is the obvious, as everyone on the board is. Of course it is. But then you can pick any spot, anyone. And I don't even want to talk about it. I just want to. I'm
sure there's a drop-off from our starters to our backups, but it's not like Trent Williams to the next guy up. It's kind of like, hopefully, we're used to playing like 13 guys.
Because they're all going to play.
They're all going to play.
These guys are going to play. It's why Tyler Larson. It's why they all can play. The interior guys can play multiple positions. It's why Cornelius Lucas has been here forever, and he was the name I had underneath Jacoby.
Yeah,
of course.
Cosby's going to step off multiple times, potentially in the same game. I remember when Morgan Moses used to do that. I mean, all these guys, we play 13, 14 guys all year long. We're going to have everyone has a long year at offensive line. That's just the way it goes. All right, so not trying to get all commie on you, but best fantasy player on our team this year.
Now, we'll go ahead and say this. Mm-hmm. We don't have any superstar.
No Justin Jefferson or Patrick Mahomes. Fair enough.
Jahan Dotson. I think his red zone proficiency, if you see his touchdown catches, they're all between like 15 and 25 yards. That part of the field, not so much, the 5-yard line in, but his route running, his separation, his hands, all elite red zone traits. And I think that catapults him into the conversation. Of course, we know about Terry McLaurin, but I think Jahan Dotson puts up those big point touchdowns, those 22-yarders, maybe not the 75-yarder, but he is certainly a red zone favorite in this franchise.
Yes.
And I'm certain EB has just understood every single aspect of that. Look for him in the red zone, especially outside of the 10-yard line.
I think he is probably the favorite because for fantasy, obviously, if you're a PPR league, you're going to do fine. If you're a touchdown league, you're going to do fine. He's going to get you 800 to 1,000 yards and a lot of catches. I mean, how many targets are there, right? I mean, like you feel like your top two receivers in the NFL today are going to get somewhere between 90 and 100 targets, with your number one receiver probably getting like 120 targets over the course of a season.
6 to 7 a game.
Yeah.
For 8 for Terry, say. But
I think 8.
That comes down maybe.
But you figure 8 gets you, you're right over 100, 115, 125 right there. So that tracks. Our tight end, we don't have Travis Kelce, so our tight end isn't getting Travis Kelce, targets. They might split him among 2 or 3 guys, but that's also going to go to Antonio Gibson and Curtis Samuel. So I don't know. I like Jahan Dotson. T's saying no answer. He's copping out. He doesn't like. I think Sam Howell has the ability to be a great fantasy player because I think he's going to throw the ball 35 times a game.
We weren't talking so much value at round picking, like
just
Greg
dominant.
Was mentioning. I think the nature of the question was, all right.
So I will say,
who are we deeming the greatest fantasy player on the team?
As you know, because you've played in the league briefly, I believe
this was not a football league.
I believe in fantasy defenses scoring lots of points if they're good. I think a great defense should be one of the best players in the league. I think a terrible defense should murder you on a weekly basis, and with the most risk, most reward I think the Washington defense is the fantasy star this year. I think we get turnovers finally. I think if you look at what we've done, we've held people to yards, we've held people to points. Those categories we've done just fine in. We haven't been getting the turnovers. We haven't been scoring on defense.
Specifically. That's why we drafted Slim Pickens. Quan Martin and them.
The DST.
KJ Henry. And Andre Jones. We're trying to get dudes that will get us the ball back.
Get the ball back. We got our first Pat White reference of the night. Thank you, Greg Martin. Appreciate that. We're not drafting a flag football team here. Because if we were, he'd be off the board already. But the defense for Washington, I'm excited. I think there's sacks there. I think there's interceptions there. Ultimately, I think that getting off the field on third down, which is obviously the most important thing, that's the coolest part about, I think, what we got. Because you have to be able to, on 3rd and 6, a cornerback or a safety, but probably a cornerback's going to have to make a tackle to bring up 4th and 2. If the ball gets outside, and I think we got those guys. I really do.
We got all kinds of guys on defense. I'm really looking forward to watching us get to the ball. Our team speed and athleticism, I believe, is at a premium like we have never seen. I do believe that. Our team speed on the defensive side of the football is absolutely as good as it's ever been. And a lot of defenses can probably say that in some of these smaller franchises that haven't been doing much lately, but man, we've had some great teams, but I don't know if we've ever had athletes like we have across the board.
Right.
Across the board, man. That's what I'm super pumped about, to watch this defense. And, you expect them to come pitch a shutout week 1, and all of a sudden someone gashes you for 20 yards. It is the NFL. The averages figure itself out.
Yeah.
We've got a veteran D coordinator and a couple linebackers running the show that have proven over the last 30 years they know how to be elite at a certain level, even without some of our stars. So I really look forward to seeing our defense play football in this league this year against this schedule. I really want to see how we've acclimated ourselves. Do we want to take that step to elite?
Yeah.
Not just in the numbers, but in the output, in the win total.
Let me ask you this, because it's the first time I get to ask you this. Talking about win totals and games. We're playing the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Win and a score prediction. I'm sorry, win, loss, and a score prediction. You already predicted a win, so that's why I said that. But and T, you're up on the deck too. We're putting it down. So score prediction, win or loss.
First one.
Week 1, first
one. Who goes first?
Kevin, you get to go first.
All right. I'm giving the good guys a W. And I believe the score will be 24 to 13.
24-13.
Good guys.
W.
Burgundy and gold, skins, Commanders, whatever.
So weird. I was watching it on the YouTube monitoring part. Now I'm watching it on the eCam one. It's freaking me out, man. I'm sorry. I got to pull it together.
Do your thing,
Got to pull it together. All right. So wait, we got the thing about the line of it being 7. It really perplexes me. I understand that it's the NFL and that things happen and no one wants to predict anything on week 1, and I get it. Like it's the same thing we saw in preseason. Everyone's like 3 points because a bunch of people who weren't playing football were going to be playing each other for 3/4 of a game. But this should be more that, like, 7 points to me seems like the suckerest bet of all bets. It's actually kind of playing with my head,
especially on opening week.
Yes,
it's.
I feel like this is almost like it's like D1 versus FBS.
Walk away, because it's not.
I know.
Not.
Every smart part.
They've got some dudes that can play ball. Buda Baker's sitting there listening to all this shit, going, "Really? Does anyone know I've been to some Pro Bowls here in the last couple of years? My damn self." There's
He's the best player on the team. He will not be on their
talent.
team by the end of the season. Is my prediction.
Talent. Well, we'll see.
They're
He
so
was rumored
committed
to be
tanking.
a part of our team multiple times, and that's fine.
All right. So what's the? What do you got?
There's a
They
wily ass
already
ice
saw.
cube.
They already saw
That
it.
ice cube was like
The banana peel.
the best kick return, punt return we've seen in years around here. He scooted around the plug. He was slippery. He was elusive as a son of a bitch.
I have to take T at his word. He said 63-3, and I'm going to write that down. 63-3 W. I don't know when we're giving up that field goal, but I hope it's not late because I don't want to lose a 63-0 game. 38.5 is the over under, and I mean we're prohibitive favorites on the money line. I think that we cover the over under ourselves. That's what I've been saying that the whole way, and that number has gone up. So the 7-point spread hasn't gone up, but they've put more points in this game over the last few, because I think it was at 36 or so. So to me, that's total horseshit. I don't know why people aren't betting on Washington. I feel people still aren't bought in that aren't living here, which is fine.
90% of our starters are in their 20s, most of them in their early to mid, and we've stunk forever, and the other teams have filled our stadiums for a long time, and this is the first time, and everyone's like, oh my God, yeah, well, guess what?
Everything makes sense if you
it's
say
going to be a dog
smartly.
fight. Well, we've watched this damn league, and we all know it, and I'm just saying, there's some good football players across, and they've been listening to this shit the whole entire preseason. Everyone's telling them how shitty they are, how they stink. Well, you know what? That usually happens after you get beat down over the course of a season, and certain guys go one way, and you get some quitters. This is week 1. They still have hope.
41-3.
They're undefeated.
41-3.
41-3.
41-3.
You guys, man, I think I don't feel good about this.
Right away.
I hate it.
Next Tuesday night.
UT and Red are killing me right now.
I got 41. We're covering the number on our side, and I just don't know that they're going to be able to stop us, even when we're turning it off.
I think that this
because of all the evidence of
in the
that we
fourth.
have.
This will be a 1-possession game in the fourth quarter.
Okay, there's a better chance of that than anything that T and I are selling over here.
You guys are freaking me out here, man. I get gas when I get freaked out.
The buzzer's going off. Alert! Get the hazmat suits ready and properly lubed. I believe that's how that works. I'm not sure. I didn't serve a desert sword.
It's the wrong outfit. It's how it's
just go with it. Just go with it.
Whatever.
All right, the Muff Pool by Greg Martin. Everyone pick, and let's see. Oh, how many? Okay, the Muff, because there is an over-under on Muffs. Muffs is a thing. We saw it. It happened freakishly, frequently for us last year.
All Muff in our favor. All Muffs in our favor. I would love another year of all Muffs in our favor. Perhaps a fruit basket. I'll take one fruit basket in our favor.
Yes, maybe against Muffalo, the Muffalo Bills. Maybe, I don't know. That could be like, we'll see. They may need to suit up a water boy. So basically, T's saying. By the way, T's saying
their roster is not that bad. They've got guys.
I know, but they're hiking into Josh Dobbs right away. Who's not a nobody, but
he's kind of a nobody.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I'm glad we can go. That's the issue. He touches the ball every single time on offense. That's a problem.
Oh well, he's giving it to someone right away as many times as he possibly can.
Was it James Conner? Is that
James
right?
Conner.
And he's all right. He can run. He can get something.
I'm just telling you.
What I hope is that I want to work clock. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it being a close game. If it is a close game in the fourth quarter, that favors us because we can give it to Brian
I don't
Robinson.
think so. T just said we're winning 63-3. So if it's close, it doesn't favor any one of you turds or your predictions.
Well, I'm trying to muff the turd here. He's nobody. He's nobody. He's nobody adjacent. I like that. He is nobody adjacent.
Yeah, I'm not. Listen, he's got 2 total touchdowns in his career and 3 picks. The rookie obviously hasn't thrown anything yet, so their entire quarterback room has thrown 2 touchdowns. I get that, but that's what we're all reading. That's what we're all taking in. Their D line and their offensive line has some dudes on it that compete at a very. They all get paid. There's a salary cap. These dudes, they got scholarships too.
There is a salary cap, but at some point they can't fit. They're not paying living people with their salary cap. They're paying dead money to their salary cap very soon. They're just lining up to pay a ton of dead money.
Eventually, but this is week uno.
That's true.
They've got to put seats in those asses in those seats.
Okay, but let's just be honest though. They're not saying let's see how we do out of the gate with Josh Dobbs and these guys, and then we'll just roll the dice. They've already they already traded away like 2 of their starting guys.
I get it, but listen, they cut Colt McCoy, and I was like, oh my god, and Vegas was like, meh.
Exactly.
What the shit are you talking about, Vegas? Hold on. And I don't think Colt McCoy's all that, but at least he's got some chops in this league.
He's still
against his old team. He doesn't get the opportunity.
He's still in the tanking
to save
regime.
$1.5 million this year. For what? To roll it over and roll back prices
to go against
Colt?
that $80 million of dead cap. They're like, if we just get this 1.5, then it will be like 78.5.
No, it would be barely less than 80. He's at like 81 and some change. That's for next year too. Oh Lord,
it's who knows. I mean, my heart goes out to like the hardcore Arizona fans, which there are some. I used to work in Phoenix all the time. I've been to that stadium. They have an awesome local fan base, and it's going to suck for them this year. And I hope it sucks hard right away in week 1, and they understand what that's all about. They've been to a Super Bowl way more recently than we have, so we can all be adults here. 3 wins, 3 different score predictions. He's just crazy. I mean, at least mine's reasonable. We're only winning by about 40. You have us pulling away in a 1-score game in the fourth quarter.
63-3, but we're going 8-9. I'm so confused.
That is. You're gonna have to answer to that one, T. This is gonna be a weird
beat someone
season.
by 60, and then we're losers.
That would be one of the greatest. I wish T was here to realize what he just did, because I don't think he did. He has no idea that he has a 60-point favorite.
No, if
going
he
8-9.
thinks Arizona is the worst shitbag team of all time, and he's going all in, and I get that, but man. If we put up 9 teeters in week 1, they're going to rip they're going to rip the field, and people are going to go home with plods of grass. It's going to be historic.
The seats will be gone. Everything. The people will be taking up chunks of the asphalt from the parking lot, and they should do all of those things. But NES talked about Caleb Will. Let's put that on the screen. I like that. I don't know where that came from, but Caleb pulling at Elway really. He of course will. 100% will. I think that's my prediction. I don't know what he's doing.
But listen, it is just the what do you say? It's the segue. Arizona's a segue for his career to continue in a professional league.
He can play professionally in college for another year if he wants.
Just everyone do yourselves a favor and Google the highlights. And I know it was Nevada. I don't give a shit.
It was so
I've
good.
never seen someone just so much better than everyone else near him. Like T wrote, he's toying with it. He was yo-yo. He was in, out, over, around.
It's not fair. Seemed
He
unfair.
is so effing fun to watch play the greatest sport ever created. I can't get enough of it.
So interestingly, I don't mean to point at you. That's just a bad habit.
Sorry, I was getting aroused after that last Caleb conversation.
How
Now I'm not. I'm not anymore.
rookies in the NFL make let's say even if you're the number one pick in the league, you get a 5-year deal and you're making $8 or $9 million that first year.
Yeah.
And it kind of ratchets up to like 15, 17, or something like that.
Close enough. Yes.
He could. So I think the market, because of how effed up the world we live in right now is, I think you take whatever that number is and they find a way to offer him more to stay at USC for another year. So he basically can he'll make more. He'll have the option to make more money playing at USC.
I don't think so.
Than a rookie. You don't think he could make $10 million?
What do you think they offered the 5-star showing up at spring practice this year? A different deal than Caleb got 2 years ago, a year ago? Now, I know Caleb's special, but you got to keep this shit rolling. And if Lincoln wants to stay out there in SoCal, Caleb's gone in 12 games. How many more games is Lincoln going to coach? He's got a 5-star sitting there right now. That's the number one guy. That's a big time dude from out west. That's a stud star. It's not how it works. He doesn't sit for a year, or else he's gone. Then Caleb's gone. They're like, well, and they probably could find another 5-star.
Probably could.
But one way or another, Caleb will circumnavigate this ridiculous Cardinal Houston Texan scenario and make it work because, like everyone's suggesting on the board, and we have some insider information, yes, this is a brilliant family. They are financially astute. They are well aware of what takes place, what's failed previously in this league, and they're not going to fail. It's not an option if you know them. It's not a possibility. They're not putting this in someone else's hands. They're going to have a very good, let's just say, they're going to have their hand wrapped around this entire situation.
This is Elway and Eli all over. This is all of that. So yeah, if the situation isn't like that, I mean, but I don't know. If it wasn't, I don't know that necessarily working in Phoenix and playing there is the worst thing in the world. If they could sell them on, hey, listen, we have 6 draft picks in the first 2.5 rounds that everyone's coming in together and blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't know that that's enough. I think Caleb literally could potentially be the kind of guy to be like, I want to come in and start winning.
Let's say this. Caleb's dad's been winning long before Caleb became great at football. Yep. Caleb's dad has created quite the scenario for his family. They are not sitting here desperate for any of this money, and Caleb's made a buttload of it in college. Money is the least.
He's made enough. He's made enough money to take care of his family forever already. Now it is time to be the football player, and I mean, I don't know. So I ran into randomly this guy. So I was on the golf course, and there was a pair behind us playing, and people behind us were super slow, and so this pair called us, and we're like, hey, why don't you join us? And so they did, and it was a dude from Rockville who I didn't know, and a friend, and I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm Ken. He's like, I'm Christian Lee. Brendan Lee's father, the wide receiver from Gonzaga. He's a Coast Guard. He's in the Coast Guard, and he assistant coaches at Gonzaga, which, you know, some great stories there. Awesome dude. And I'm just talking, and in the middle of me talking, I'm just wearing, I'm basically wearing it like this. It's just
tank
innocuous,
top, booty shorts, thong hanging out,
a lot of tassels, mostly tassels,
Crocs,
and Crocs. And he's like, "Whoa!" He's wait, are you like? Do you do like local sports, like high school sports? And I was like, absolutely. I'm like seeing if I have like a First Amendment sports thing on. And he was like, dude, I recognize your voice, Coach Gonzaga. My son's Brendan Lee. And I was like, of course, Brendan Lee. When we like sang his praises in the game we did against St. John's, and couldn't have been a nicer guy, and just a testament to our awesome privilege of being in a spot where like we get to see these guys at that level. Awesome, Brendan's getting money to play at Cornell, like the first kid from Gonzaga to go to Cornell in like forever, which is just awesome. Get that college paid for, kids.
Go to Ivy League and get that paper.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So
good.
it's a tiny segue into our schedule that's coming up. So you get to hang out with us on Tuesday nights.
Can you put that up there for me?
Caleb's Wendy's. There it is.
Thank you.
Loaded. We'll just put a pin in the high school schedule. But let's talk about this for a second. Wendy's loaded nacho cheese double cheeseburger. You've had it.
Have I had it?
Have you had it?
I'm
going to talk about it.
I saw T and I.
Sounds like something Rhett would eat 5 of before coming to our house.
We were all on the text thread. We saw the commercials coming out willy-nilly. Caleb's making that loot, blah, blah, blah. But he was so great in the Wendy's commercial, and he was talking about this nacho cheeseburger. And if there's 2 things I love, as my mouth waters, Pavlov's dog style, I adore nachos. I adore cheeseburgers. It's maybe my 2 favorites.
I had a cheeseburger before I came down here today.
I fucking love cheeseburgers. My number one, and nachos are great. I went to the Wendy's. I got the double. T's right. Jalapeno cheese bun. This thing was crafted perfectly. God damn it.
Yeah.
The last thing I need in my life is the nacho cheeseburger on the weekend.
But that is yet another win
hell, it was
for Carl.
Spectacular.
Once again, Carl steered his kid in the. I mean,
dude,
putting in your name next to something that great.
These little crunchies on them, they crunch.
It's loaded. It's loaded. BT Dub.
Whose muff is hanging out?
Whose muff is? No one on this screen.
Greg Martin. Well, let's make sure.
Yeah, trust me. The muff cam was disabled weeks ago. Buenos Aires.
I saw it. It's red.
It's red. It is red.
He said he's cooling it off.
All right, so September 23rd. It will be on this very channel. So be a subscriber if you haven't already done it. Now I noticed we could use a few more thumbs. This man over here loves thumbs. I mean, just give him his thumbs, everybody.
Fingers are fine.
I mean, I guess.
I typically get the finger. So
it's different strokes. But I would also say that you'll get the notification from when we go live on Saturday afternoons for the greatest high school football in the country. We'll be at St. John's. We'll be at McNamara. We'll be at Gonzaga. We're going to show you Good Counsel. We're going to show you Carroll. We're going to show you one of the greatest high school rivalries in the history of this country in terms of 100-plus year rivalries in Gonzaga St. John's in early November. We're going to give you some playoff ball, and it's an awesome time of year. We're excited for that. That has been like the lifeblood of our football fanness for the last 8 or 9 years doing this and longer because we love it. But that has like just kept us going and in love with the sport, in love with the culture and everything around football. The Redskins are now contributing in a positive way, in a way that they haven't for a while. The way that they weren't able to. Well, we still watched the games, of course, but it was they're coming like Dion's Buffaloes. They're coming. But also take a chance on a Saturday afternoon with us to watch high school sports. It's awesome.
If this makes sense, our conference presently, and I did the numbers, and there's a couple. I have to check a couple of the final 53s, but I believe there's 20 kids that we have called their high school football games that now get paid an exorbitant amount.
Yes,
to play on Sundays.
Yeah,
and we're not talking about Saturdays. There's hundreds. Saturdays, it's bizarre. Change a game, blah, blah, blah.
Every time into turn a game, no matter
what. It's ridiculous. Savion Wilkerson, who's been to 4 different colleges, is now the starting running back at Colorado for Dion's Buffaloes. He scored that first touchdown, and he was a dude. Well, he's always been a dude. You know why we know that? We saw him play in 7th and 8th grade, called his games in high school, and now we knew he was a little special. Anyways, 20-some dudes from one conference in one of the smaller places. DC's 10 miles wide at its widest point. This is the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. This ain't Texas. This ain't California. This ain't Florida. 20 dudes?
Yep.
20 dudes. Yeah, that's the real deal, man.
And one of those guys, Spencer Anderson, for the Pittsburgh Steelers from the Bishop McNamara Mustangs, will be there on September 30th for homecoming against Carroll. We'll be honoring the 73 city championship team. There's a lot of bad dudes who played high school football in the 70s will be on hand. I segued myself over to there was a highlight on Twitter.
Did you lean forward?
I leaned forward and I did a little sideways thing.
Nice.
Ben Chandler, the big beefy guard who shoots threes for the Mustang basketball team,
sure,
also suits up in helmet and pads, and he had a house call on Friday night. But the reason why it's just so much fun to watch the some of the best athletes in certainly in our area, if not the country, who can hoop it up in a way that nobody else really can. And they're 6'3", 6'2", 6'3", beefy guard, and then all of a sudden, but you see him in shoulder and pads, you're like, oh man. I heard a story about Deshaun Harris-Smith.
That was Ken that said beefy. Ken Marangolo.
In the most complimentary way imaginable.
Yeah.
Is it true Deshaun Harris-Smith was a dog on the football field?
It's true. It's true. Now, at the Little League level.
Yeah.
Can you imagine he wasn't?
I can't imagine he wasn't. I know that with Doug McDaniel getting on the field, for that Panthers team, but him not, I'm sure it was hard for him to not get out there, but he made the right decision.
Sometimes you gotta follow your heart.
He is looking great at University of Maryland, by the way, for all of you guys out there who care about either the Terps or the WCAC. Deshaun Harris-Smith is the man.
Big Ten basketball rookie of the year.
I don't think it's going to be even close. I mean, he's going to start and he's going to get. We already know his game. He dominates the ball.
The problem is though, he's going to average 9, 8, 7, 7, 5, and 4. He'll get you 21 night, and he doesn't need to take a shot the next night. He just doesn't give a shit. I love that about him. He plays hard as he is it.
He's it.
He's a great representative of where we're from.
Appreciate you guys. We're over an hour in. We're gonna call this one quits until next Tuesday night, when we'll be able to talk about an actual game that was played. The week's action. We'll find some stuff.
T will be back.
T will be back.
We'll be talking about a real game. It won't be 100 freaking degrees out there.
That's a thing, by the way. That is an actual thing. I can't believe how hot it is now, and it's not been hot all summer long. Waited until September. If I threw this on you at the last second, Kev, I hate to do this to you. I really do. I know I can't do it to T because I already tried 5 hours ago, and it wasn't enough.
Something tells me I'm not going to like it.
A song lyric that best describes your feeling for this game against the Arizona Cardinals. That's on the. I couldn't put you more on the spot. I don't know that I have in 8 years.
I think I'm going to go with 2 Live Crew and Lucas.
Okay.
You say you want to play cat and mouse. When I catch you, let everyone else do their homework out there.
Finish that line. Greg Martin, you got it. Okay, so that is T-Strack, and I know you're still watching. Next week, I want a song lyric that best describes the game that just happened, and a song lyric that best describes what you think about the game coming up. I'm going to Black Eyed Peas. I got a feeling. That we'll leave it there. NES Tecmo Manor speaking. Greg Martin, T. Strachan, Ken Harris, E.O. Anderson, Robert Cohen. I know you're gonna get this. You'll watch it in reruns.
I want all you guys to have a ball watching that game this week. I wish we could do it with every single one
Brett,
of you.
Everybody. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you in 7 days from now. Have a great week 1. He's Kevin Ricca.
When the shit goes down, you better be ready.
That's also. Can I
Well,
get to hear
you
it?
know,
When the shit goes down. I'm Ken Marangolo. This was Thank God It's Tuesday. Fade.
Enjoy your weekends.
Black.
Have fun watching the squad, man.
We're still live. Hail. Let's get some music going. How about that? A little.
I don't think you should play 2 Live Crew, though. There we go. CEO. I like it.
CEO.
It just rolls. I'm just saying.
I love it. It's good that this is like the last part of our live bit, because this slider means nothing. When I try to put us on so that we can talk over the music, it doesn't matter where I put the slider. If the music's too loud. This EO is that good. I don't know. We're just playing around. It's still live when the shit goes down. EO says. All right.
Let's go.